Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to day 29 of my 90 days journey to create $5,000 in passive income. My name is David, and I'm a computer software engineer. I decided to go on this journey about a month ago because I have a family and I need to be able to create a dedicated source of income to support our lifestyle, as well as to pay the mortgage of the house that we are acquiring. Today, I share a new discovery about my Airbnb listing, my negotiation with a painter, and the difference I learned between a commitment and contribution. A few weeks ago, I set up an Airbnb listing to rent out one of the bedrooms in our current house. I've had one renter so far, and since then I haven't had any new bookings. Today I decided to do a search in my area to compare my listing to others that are available, and I was pretty shocked that my listing was priced at about the same as other listings that were renting out the entire house. And these houses look pretty nice. They have 2 bedrooms and like a normal bed, whereas for me, I have an air mattress. I didn't realize that it was so competitive these days, and I immediately lowered my price by about $10. And we'll see if we get any guests in the coming week. The one advantage I have with our room listing is that the house all charge a $15 to $20 cleaning fee, whereas for me, I charge no cleaning fee for shorter stays. I may adjust the price again in a few days if I still don't get any interest in the property, but I'm glad I did this research, and now I know why I haven't gotten as much attention as I was expecting. I also want to share an interesting conversation I had with a painter around negotiation. Since my wife and I are moving out of our current apartment, we want to get our current place redecorated or at least repainted so it will be more attractive for future tenants and Airbnb guests. I got 2 bids on Friday, one from a painter, a franchise company, another from an individual who's both the owner and sole employee. I got the quote from them back this weekend, and the franchise company gave me a quote of $4,000 to paint everything, and the sole proprietor owner gave me a quote that was $1,000 more than the other company. I actually expected the opposite, since the individual would have fewer overhead costs since she's just working by herself, and she probably would also in need of business and therefore be able to work for less. Between the two of them, I preferred the individual because she was much more attuned to the details of our house. She realized things that were a mismatch and made recommendations. However, I realized that most of her recommendations were way above my standard of what I had envisioned for the house. For example, she asked me if I wanted to paint the crown molding in every room, and in most of the rooms the crown molding was totally fine, but she said, well, since you're painting the wall and the baseboards, the crown molding will stand out like a sore thumb if you don't paint it as well. I said, well, this is going to be a rental property, and that really doesn't matter to me. Another thing she pointed out was that one of the doors that was already painted she saw brush marks that were going both horizontal and vertical. She said, "No, this is just wrong. You should only paint this vertically." I could barely even notice what she was pointing at. I had to be a few inches from the door to see that. Again, that's not a concern. And finally, she said she only uses this paint from Sherwin-Williams called Emerald. That's $130 per gallon. She asked me if I would be willing to use that paint. I said no. Well, I already have paint at the house, and there's no need to go something with more expensive for property I'm renting. And again, I could see she was disappointed. She even suggested going with two coats of paint to make sure that it looks solid from every angle. While I appreciated her attention to detail, the amount of attention she was giving to this job was much more than I needed for a rental property. And I can see why her quote would be higher than the other place. But I still wanted to give her a chance to work together. I made her the following proposal. I said, I want to see what you can do in half of a day. So I'm going to give you 4 hours. You tell me the price that works for you. And I need you to paint my ceiling and the shower, and then do as much work in the bathroom as you can during that time. I will pay you at the end of the 4 hours, and I will cover all the material costs. Initially, she agreed, and she asked me if she could select the paint. I told her, well, I think we already have ceiling paint, and this is such a small area. I don't think it makes sense to get a new container. But she said, you can use this for the future since you're renting the room out. I didn't want to argue over such little expense, so I said, fine. You pick out the paint that you want. Send me the details and the price, and we can get it. She said, okay, I can get it from Sherwin-Williams tomorrow morning as soon as they open. I said, that sounds great. And that's about the time that I turned off my phone and went to bed. But right before I did, she sent another message. She said she will need half of the payment up front before she starts the job, and she wants me to pay for the certain materials like sandpaper, caulk, so she has money to work. I told her, I'm going to bed, but let's discuss this tomorrow. I woke up the next day expecting a message on my phone with details about the paint, but unfortunately, she hadn't responded. I checked in with her and continued our conversation from the night before. I replied that I understood where she was coming from when asking for half up front. That's probably how she usually works, but this is a special project and it's only 4 hours, and I promised I would pay her after the 4 hours and I would supply all of the materials. She came back with, I don't work for free, and I need half of the payment upfront before I can do anything. And at that time, I just said, I'm sorry, it's not gonna work out. I really was surprised at her response because I was giving her an opportunity and she needed the work. All she had to do was go do the research that she herself had promised to do and get back to me, and then show up on Monday and put in 4 hours of work, and she would have a cool $200. But instead, she is choosing to do things her way and pass up on the opportunity. There are actually many people with this type of mindset. What they're doing is not successful or is detrimental to their growth, but they continue what they're doing probably because it feels natural. Had she decided to add value instead of taking value by doing some extra legwork and letting me see her work before asking for money, I would happily paid her, or maybe even adding some extra. But I don't have any regrets. Even the franchise that reported $4,000 quote, I feel is too high. And as a result, my wife and I are gonna paint our house on the weekend. Once we move most of our stuff to our new place, it'll be much easier to set up and make sure we don't make a mess. And that should only take maybe 2.5 weeks, since we can work both Saturday and Sunday. Finally, I want to share what I learned about commitment and contribution. The story actually came from one of the YouTubers I listen to. I'll post the video to that in the description below. It's about a father and son sitting at a dinner table, where the son asks the father, "Dad, what's the difference between commitment and contribution?" The dad said, "Son, look down at your plate. What do you see?" The son said, "Ham and eggs." The father said, "The pig made a commitment and the chicken made a contribution." What that means for me is that the pig went all in, whereas the chicken stayed on the sideline. If we want to be successful, we all need to work like pigs, to be all in. That's the only way that we know that we have given our best, and that's the most likelihood for our efforts to succeed. I plan to work like a pig, for the side hustle I'm doing, and also for my current job. And hopefully this will inspire others to do the same, and we can all be part of this great journey. Thank you guys for watching till the end. If you liked any part of my video, or if you like to follow me on my journey, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time. Peace!